All right, welcome back. Today we're going to do some more Yoda Red. Finished off the PQ last weekend. Made a few changes to the deck. We've been critiqued by a few of the personalities or YouTubers and that out there, given some thoughts on that, and I had some thoughts myself. So this is where I've kind of landed on at the moment. What you'll notice is that there's a bombing run no longer in the main. Owen Lars has been increased by 1. Fell the Dragon has been decreased by 1, and we've added another Rivals Fall. The Rivals Falls are there for the big Voltron leaders. There's quite a bit in the meta at the moment, whether they're Boba Datavolt, Kylo, or Luke Datavolt, which was the surprise at the Sydney PQ. In the side, the Confiscates are gone and replaced by Fang Fighters to help with the 3PO draw when we're calling out threes blind. And yeah, so that's where it is, and I'm just going to do some testing. Hey Salush, you are very early on that. I just hit the start button not long ago. So same as always, 10 games. Then let's see if the changes have made it better or if the changes have made it worse. Let me fix that window. That should be better now. All right, so we've got a leader that we don't see very often, the Darth Vader from set 1 in an ECL. All right, so let's take initiative. Let's keep that. Always good to start with a Force unit. The lightsaber's not too bad in these colors because we're going to have a shielded unit, and let's go with that. We'll get rid of the Poe and the Night Sister Warrior. Or we could ditch and try and get an early Poe. Yeah, I think the lightsaber's too greedy at the moment for that, but it is the colors that you potentially could throw a lightsaber on. All right, so we can claim here. What we want to do to start with is we'll get rid of the Poe. Is at least get the Force on, get our Force token. So Jay Tatum Lover, so what are you playing next PQ? Well, I'll be going to Adelaide, so it's not this weekend, the weekend after. At this stage, I'm either going to be playing Iden or Yoda. Let's make our opponent discard here. We may be lucky to get a hit. We do, and that'll help with our C-3PO. Yoda's the funnest deck I've played in Swoop for a very long time, so I may just be sticking with that. But having said that, I will be running, how do you say it, interference for my teammates. And what that means is that I'll be participating in the PQ. I'll be trying my best through the Swiss rounds to get through to the top 8. But if I hit a team member in top 8, I will concede to try and help them get the bye, or get the 100 points that help them qualify. So that's my plan. So if I'm going to do that, I may as well take a super fun deck. And Iden is probably not the funnest deck, and that for that it is a very competitive deck, and will do quite well. But I may just stick with Yoda yet, unless you have some suggestions. I have a number of PQs coming up. All right, let's hit the Stormtrooper. We'll call blind 3. We hit a 3. We've got a higher volume of 3s in the deck. So yeah, I do have 3 PQs left to go. It is possible for me to qualify for the top 32, but to be honest, it's really unlikely. All right, let's drop an early Poe out here. It is possible to qualify, but we don't have regionals, we don't have sectors. All we've got is the PQs. So I would have to win a number of PQs, and let's be realistic. They're not easy to win. Okay, so we don't need the Night Sister Warrior here. Yeah, they're not easy to win. So The J Tatum says, I'd love to see Avar Blue Red. Been trying to make her work as a casual deck next to my main competitive decks. It is a pretty cool deck, the Avar ones. It was one of the first ones I made this set on here as well. What can we do here? Let's just try and get a draw to start with. I do like Ava Red is probably the one that I like the most. Let's just push base here. We'll just, oops, we don't want to sacrifice any cards. We'll just push Ray out. Get rid of the Yaddle. Yeah, I do like Ava. It's probably just not a competitive deck. It can win some games and all that, but it wouldn't be a deck that I take to a PQ. It's just the deploy's too late for it. And there's just not enough ways to consistently get the force to bring her out early. But it is a super fun deck to play. But yeah, in terms of the points, 3 more PQs this set. Four. Sydney, there's another Sydney one at the end. Canberra, Adelaide, and Perth. So there's many opportunities. What about Canaan? Canaan sort of falls in the same boat as falls into the same boat as, let's just put Luke on top for now. Falls in the same boat as Ava, in the sense that it can be good, it can fire strong, but it's yeah. Let's just draw first. It just doesn't have enough legs. All right, he's going to pop Vader. All right, we're okay with that. Let's just trigger the draw. We have massive card advantage at the moment, but he does have Vader coming out. Morgan Ellsworth, clearly the best. Yeah, I saw Lunch playing Morgan Ellsworth the other day. It was a user submitted deck. I think at this stage we just claim, right? If he's going to pass, we just claim. Okay, we don't need 2 turrets. Yeah, Morgan Ellsworth, I think, is a leader that might get better as more sets than that come out, but at the moment, it's not a deck that, not a playstyle that I've been able to work on at all. I actually like the Ray set 5. I have a Ray yellow deck that's decent, but it's just not super competitive. Okay, so what we do here is we'll put the Ray on the top of the deck. That Rivals is a good draw. Francesco, the deck list has been slightly updated from the previous live and the PQ. Okay, so he was able to finish that one off. So we do have a 5 on top, which is not what we wanted. I mean, yeah, we can't deploy here because, yeah, we can't deploy. Kind of got in a weird spot here. All right, I think what we do is just Luke, and then we can just deploy Yoda and hit base. Because we can rival, and we've also got like 5 restore here. So the deck list has been slightly updated, and I will go over the changes straight after this match. He really has to hit into Luke here. Okay, yeah, Morgan Ellsworth, Kanan. Yeah, they're just too many tiers below, unfortunately. So let's claim. All right, so let's just hit base. We're taking within 3 and see what he's got for us here. He has to defeat Yoda, or at least put a wall up here. All right, so that's the first game. All right, so we start off at 1-0. And then let's go back and have a look at this list. So this is the list that I was playing on the last stream, but I've made a couple of updates to it. So I've watched a couple of videos of where people were reviewing the PQ winners that won over the past weekend. They provided some ideas, and I had some thoughts myself about what worked and what didn't work. So the bombing run that I had in main, I didn't use all day. So I've actually just pushed that back to the side. And replaced it with an Owen Lars, and I've also dropped the Fell the Dragon and replaced it with the Rivals, because there are a lot of these big leaders out there. So Luke Dartavolt, Boba Dartavolt, Kylo. That 2 Rivals is probably better suited. Even if we're just paying 2 more than the Fell, I think it's worth having that Rivals in there. And then in the side, the only change I've made is swap Confiscates for the Disabling Fang Fighter. The reason I do that is because I want to weight 3s higher for when I call a C3PO to call it blind. I just call a 3. So they were the only updates, Francesco. I'll put the link is in the description of the video, and I'll also put the link in the chat as well. So I'm just testing them out and seeing, have I made the deck worse or have I made it better? This time we've got a mirror with another Yoda Red. I did play a couple of mirrors on the weekend. All right, so let's keep. Now, the lightsaber is probably not any good here. Now, the main thing with the mirror is card draw. Card draw and getting the Force is probably the 2 big things. So our opponent here is going to be able to get the Force against us. We will be able to draw a card. All right, so let's see. All right, we'll put the Ray on top. Yeah, well, he's not going to play anything now, so I think I'm just going to go straight into a Yoda here. Francesco says, very kind. I'm playing your deck this day. Super fun and solid. Yeah, it is one of the funnest decks that I've played in SWU. Just the Ray mechanic is so cool. I hope they make more cards like that. It really rewards sort of creativity and sort of that like high deck, more of a high skill type player. There's a lot more going on than just like playing unit and attacking base. Okay, so we're not going to be able to bust the Chirrut with our Yoda, but we still want to attack to get the Force. Okay, the Force is with us. Great deck, but so many legends that I don't have. So which legends are you missing, Salush? I assume it would be Crate Dragons and Luke. They seem to be the expensive ones. There we go. So that's what I'm talking about, weighting the deck to a 3. Always call a 3 when you're doing it blind. All right, perfect. Ki-Adi-Mundi is exactly what we wanted here. We've got the Rivals now for the Yoda flip. What do we have to be careful for here? We have to be careful for a... how do you say it? We have to be careful for a Luke here if we defeat the unit. All right, so let's draw and see what we get. We get another Ki-Adi-Mundi, which is great, and a Rivals Fall here. And Poe, yeah. So Poe's probably not as critical as compared to the other ones, like the Luke. Like, I wouldn't run this deck if I didn't have Luke's. All right, so he's going to pass, and then same with the crates and that as well. The Poe you can probably swap out for an Anakin, a Twilight Anakin, the 5/6. Oh, or even a Kiadi Mundi from the 5/7 is probably okay. Not as impactful, obviously, as the Poe. All right, so we want to draw some cards here. We'll try and burn his force. All right, so he's allowed us to put 2 damage on. All right, we'll now put the ray on the top. So as you notice, I resource my turret. I kind of value... so you put that on top. I kind of value the card drawer a bit more. Right, so here we can trigger it. We can do 2 damage to turret, 2 damage to base. And then I think we can just claim here. Because if we claim, we can attack with Kiadi Mundi, which will kill the turret. We have what we don't want to see from our opponent here is a Kiadi Mundi on their side. And that is an example of what we don't want to see. Okay, so what we can do here is, I think we can play our own turret. We only kind of get burnt by if it's a force throw. That's one option. The other option is that we can obviously rivals the Luke here. I think I like that option at the moment, because it's going to allow us to put a ray on top and then attack with 3PO as well. All right, we'll put the ray on top. Okay, so we'll hit his base. We'll save 5. Reveal and draw. This time we'll kill the Night Sister. Bit of a crazy match these mirrors are. We do have a rivals for his Yoda. All right, so I don't think we need to do the extra damage here. Let's just call it a 3. That's a Poe. Because we want to be able to put something on top of our deck for Yoda. All right, so he's revealed the ray. All right, let's put a ray on top. All right, so he's going to play a crate here. So our best option would be to rivals. A shame we didn't have a force throw. Because we have drawn over half our deck without a force throw at the moment. All right, so we're going to have to claim. We've been a little bit unlucky here. Here's our force throw, and here's our rebellious hammerhead that's going to do quite a lot of damage here. All things fade. Good evening, dude. Missed your last stream, but got on for this one. Well, thanks for tuning in. All right, so we're going to be able to do a massive hammerhead here. So let's go with that. We'll put the hammerhead on top. take the Yoda out. All right, so he's played. Look, let's look at his thing here. So he's played one fell. So I think what we can do is go straight into a crate here, and let's test his hand to see if he has another fell. Okay, that's his second fell. Now we can draw. We'll put something 5 or more on top. So whatever he plays here, we can remove with Yoda. All things first, saw you won the 5-8 says, saw you won the PQ on the SWU competitive up. That's correct. Yep. I did win the Sydney PQ. All right, let's pass here. We don't need to play anything here. All right, so he's going to draw. Hit us again. He's hit us a lot of rays. All right, so now we can deploy. Finally, we can hit Kiadi. It would be nice to have a Fell the Dragon here. Don't have. We have a number of forced throws. So he's played 2 fells. Typically, you'll have 3 fells, maybe a rivals. Yeah, so I did win the PQ in Sydney. This is the deck. There's been a couple of minor tweaks to it, but for all intents and purposes, it is the same deck. It's like 2 cards different in the main. Okay, so he's going to hit us with the crate. So I think at this stage we'll have to throw something at it. So we'll make our opponent discard. Right, so he's probably got something small. We're going to have to force you discard. We'll throw a Chirrut at him. So that will take him to 6 damage. All right, so that hits in there. So we've got 8 mana left here. So I think what we can do is draw a card with our X-Wing, and then we'll drop a Poe down. Okay. All Things Fade says, nice, I got absolutely crushed in the Shanghai PQ, but I expected it with the deck I took. What deck did you take to the Shanghai? And what was the numbers at the Shanghai PQ like? I know they're trying to grow the game there, which is pretty cool. Okay, so this looks like one where we can Luke our opponent here. This way, if I play the Luke first, I can run into the Hammerhead without taking damage. I can also Your Money Hope here to drop a Poe. All right, so he plays a Fell the Dragon. Let's draw. We'll put Poe on top. We'll play the Poe for 5 less. So let's see what our opponent hits us with now, because he's got a Poe to deal with. We should be able to drop a Crate Dragon here. And he has played 3 Fells. He might have a Rivals. He's played 2 Crates. Okay, so there's our Rivals that we talked about. So let's drop the Crate Dragon down here. And see if he has removal for it. All right, let's push base. All right, so we'll put that damage on base and we'll just claim. Okay, so likely a C-3PO, but that should be lethal now if he doesn't get rid of the Crate Dragon. All right, so that's how you play the mirror on that one. Let's talk about sideboard of if we were to play that in as a second game, what we would take in and what we would take out. So here is the deck here. So what we would take out are the Concord Dawn Interceptors. So we'd take 2 of those out. We'd put a Crate Dragon in. We'd put the 2 Redemptions in. And then we would also take a Saber out. You can also bring Pillages in. But you saw how many cards Yoda drew. I wouldn't do that. So I would bring the Pillages in if I was playing like a Han 2 or an Anakin, but not with the Yoda. They have too much draw. All right, so All Things Faye played Yoda Red. There were 22 participants, with about a quarter traveling from other cities like Beijing. Well, that's really good, because I know there was a PQ last set in Asia region, and it had maybe 5 people. And one of my teammates played the PQ winner at the Galactics, which was super cool. So it's good to see that the game is growing there. I know that there were distribution issues in early sets.
Hello there.
Especially when they didn't have, they didn't have cards. Like, they didn't have the early sets that really had a lot of distribution issues. All right, so now we're against Iden Versio. So we need to prioritize. Let's keep. We need to get lots of card draw going, and we need to get a lot of chip damage. We probably don't need open fire, and we probably don't need Chirrut in this matchup. Now, if we play a Secretive Sage, what happens is he just removes it first turn with a Power of the Dark Side. Okay, so he would just claim. But I think that's okay, because we'll get the card draw. If he doesn't have, sometimes they don't have the removal. We don't need a Rivals. We probably value the Force Throw more. Okay, so that's good for us that he hit the resupply. We'll call a 3 with C-3PO. It's a Fel. And we'll drop an Owen. Okay, so what we've got to look out for here, the worst draw would be a Callus, because it would give him a card draw. Oh, wow, that's probably sacrifice the Luke here. Do I value the Fells more? I think so in this matchup. All right, so here's with the takedown. Let's draw. Not what you'd want to see. You don't want to see this because it's so easy for them to remove. It's a shame we have got pretty poor draws so far. That is a good draw. That we've had bad draws so far, but the Ki-Adi-Mundi is a good draw. This kind of matchup is the second and third game are a lot better because you're all right. Let's pop the shield. Why is it better? Because you're bringing cards like Pillage and that as well. Probably could see a barrage here. Yeah, you're bringing in cards like Pillage, and Iden is particularly weak if you can attack their hand consistently with barrages and force throws. All right, so okay, so we're going to see a pass. So we'll draw 2 cards. All right, so do we force throw our opponent here? I think so. An Avenger. Wow, our opponent must have a pretty gas hand to be dropping an Avenger. Pillage can be annoying, but it's useful if you're the one using it. That's right, yeah. I mean, blue-green doesn't have Kiadimundis and that. It's got Dr. Pershings and Callus and a couple of things, but and the Reinforcement Walker, but it doesn't have too much. Okay. What do I value more here, a Ray or a Luke? Probably a Ray. We'll trigger it. We'll go Kiadimundi and then base. So what did he do? He played a Vigilance and defeat and heal. All right, so we push base. Now, the important thing here is not to overcommit. Okay, so we'll push the Yaddle to the bottom. And we'll just play a Night Sister Warrior. The C3PO is a good draw. So why don't we want to overcommit? Because it's Super Laser Blast turn. And when it's Super Laser Blast turn, yeah, that's what happens. You lose all your units. So let's put that on top. Draw that for 5. And what is it about in this matchup? It's about chip damage. Getting in as much as we can. So I am actually going to deploy Yoda out here. We'll pass and attack into base. Okay, so what are the good draws here? Open fire is good in combination with Luke, but we don't have anything at the moment to we don't have enough resources for that. All right, a crushing blow. All right, so let's push damage. So he played a Power of the Dark Side. All right, so let's drop our Owen down. We'll drop a Poe. Okay. Don't want to overcommit too much here. All right, so All Things Fade says, yep, playing a blue-blue or yellow can be slow. I've actually lost by having nothing to draw. Yeah. All right, so he got a decent draw here because he got his Timely off. It Timely allows him to basically draw 2 cards, in which he decided to Reinforcement Walker, look at a card. Did he draw them or did he... I think he drew both of them. Okay, so I think we just keep pushing here. So we can go Luke into the Reinforcement Walker and then put 4 on base. What are our options? We could Kiadimundi. No. I think it's better to Luke and make sure we keep pushing that damage onto his base there. Right. We'll lose 1 Ray. So our friend in this one is also the Crate Dragon. All right, so there's another Kiadimundi. So we're going to start with the Night Sister Warrior in case he has a Merciless or a Power of the Dark Side. Okay, so we throw away a cheap unit. Okay, we'll use Kiadimundi to draw. We'll trigger because we just want to keep getting as much damage as possible on our opponent. And we'll drop the Yoda unit down there. Okay, we've yet to hit the crate dragons, but they've got to be coming soon. To be careful for an annihilator here. All right, let's put the 4 damage on his base. Okay, so he's going to play an Anakin. Let's draw. We'll put the ray on top. We'll trigger. What is our issue here? If we... Let's draw. We're going to try and get our force throws. We'll play Yaddle down. Okay, here is our... I don't think a lightsaber. It could help us. So GM Holmes, he was another Yoda player in top 8s, finalists actually, in the tournaments on the PQs on the weekend. And he says that still not sure about Owen in his Yoda list. Draws a force card and restores 2 is great, but it's easy to get rid of. And C3PO can give us more cards. Yeah, if you have a look at Pasquale's list, he was like, he didn't run C3PO at all, which I found, yeah, I found a little bit odd, and that as well. Should I play a Crate Dragon there? I think I'll just play a Crate Dragon. He's going to have to do something with it. I think that's locked him out, right? He heals. We've got our force throw. Yeah, so Pasquale didn't run it. So I'm trialing out more Owens down to 1. Let's force throw our opponent. And now I'm back up to 2 again. There was one instance in my PQ where having the Owen out and having them ignore it allowed me on the Yoda flip turn to trade into it, which then allowed me to Your Money Hope a Luke out. So I'm not 100% sure which is correct. That's why I'm just trialing out these Owens at the moment. So far, it seems to be working okay. Liam said, I am spiritually hostile towards hard control decks. I begrudgingly accept them have a place, but yeah. But you also accept mosquitoes have a place in the food chain. Okay. And then that's how you beat the Iden Data Vault. A lot of chip damage, a lot of pressure over time. Attack the hand where you can. In terms of sideboard, in that, we would bring the additional Crate Dragon in. We would take out the Dawn Interceptors and potentially the constructed lightsabers and bring in the pillagers. The Fang Fighters can potentially also come in if you find that a lot of your units are being entrenched as well. So yeah, I'm not super hostile towards hard control. Like I played Iden Data Vault at Worlds, but hard control to me is something like Boss Blue or the old Boba Blue type thing, where it was Boss Blue's got a little bit of a top end type thing, but that Iden deck has got like Star Destroyers all throughout the top. I'm fine with that kind of control.
Hello there.
But what the control I don't like, whereas it's 100% events. that I don't like playing against that. What do we value here more? Do we value keeping him off the force? Or do we value our force token more? I think keeping him off the force, given that he can easily kill the Sage. Alright, let's put the crate on bottom. Yeah, I think that's fine. So Liam says, at the first Baddest Batch event, I played Obi ECL, got paired in a Bloss Blue, told him if the first game goes how I think it will, I'll just auto-concede. It went how I thought, yeah. This is a hard decision here because Owen's so good for the draw. Chirrut's great for the block. And Your Money Hope is good if we get, something big to take out of it. Yeah. I think we have to keep Chirrut. So let's resource to Owen here. Yeah, so fun fact is that the first PQ in Australia was held in Melbourne, and it was held in set 2. And, all right, we'll play the Chirrut there. And I actually ran Boss Blue there. So I ran it to top. I just narrowly missed out. I think I went 5-2 on the day, but I missed out on the top cut. It was a 96 player tournament. It was really fun. Really fun. So let's put that on bottom. All right, so let's claim. Wow, C3PO is good. Just better Yoda or the Night Sister Warrior here. I think keep Night Sister Warrior because we've got the Force Throw as well. I actually lost in the final round to a teammate, CJ, who I met for the first time. He was also playing Boss Blue, and we had a mirror match. And let's just say that his vigilances were more powerful than mine because every time he hit all my vigilances and restocks, and he did it, and I hit air basically. Okay, so let's kill that Starfighter while we can. Let's see how suited up this Revan gets. Maybe we might need our Rivals for this matchup. Okay, here comes Darth Malik. So I think we can just Force Throw it here. Let's see what our opponent has in his hand. Okay, so it is... All right, we can hit Revan there, so it's a 3. We'll pass. We don't need to drop the warrior while we can. We need this card draw. We need something to remove one of these big units here. So we will give him an experience. So let's claim. GM Holmes says, I see you're still not on the Endless Legions package. Yeah, it might make it in as a one-off into the Adelaide PQs. I think it's actually Canberra is the place I would play that. So Canberra, I won a major tournament there with Yoda Endless Legions. So I think that is the place that is most deserving of me playing Endless Legions. All right, the hammerhead is a good draw, especially if he can trade into here and we can cycle out to draw that hammerhead. So Malik's going to be getting, we'll put the Yoda on bottom. We could have drawn it with the Ray there with the Squadron and played the Yoda. Oh, wow. Okay, so he's going to hit us with a Vader as well. Oh, that caught us off guard a little bit there. I was too quick in playing. I think the other play would have been much better. The 3PO and the... We're going to need a good draw here. Well, none of those are a good draw. It's a draw with the X-Wing. The Luke would have been really good. Wow. I don't know why he would have done that. He had have just kept attacking base. He would have been in a much stronger position. Play for 5. What happened there? 4. Oh. I've got to stop chatting on the... I've got to stop chatting. I completely messed that up. Now I'm going to need a Sentinel if he hits base here. Yeah. Yeah, that is annoying. So if I 23... Yeah, I'm going to need a Sentinel here. That, you're my only hope. I completely messed up. I was reading the chat and yeah. All right, let's see for free. Oh, it's a Luke. It can kill one thing. That's it. All right, well, that's our first loss in quite a while. And I did not add up the numbers correctly. Okay. Sure. I have no idea what this person's doing. Well, I started to mark the thing, but I think this guy is just toying with us. Like, I have no idea at this stage. We'll just fell to start with. We need heal. Yeah, I'll answer the lightsaber thing in a sec, Thomas. About that. All right, we'll restore. Yaddle on the bottom. We'll play the Owen. And pass. Okay, the turret's good. You'd hit us with the GG. Is it finished? I don't know. I don't know what this guy's doing because put that on bottom. All right, we'll just keep pushing here. Okay. Right, we'll just claim here. We'll just create dragon. I'll just hit over the top. So Thomas says, do you have a reason why you don't play Jedi lightsaber? Yes. So let me just finish this out. Last week I was testing this deck before the PQ, and I was having issues in the Sabine, and I did not run any lightsabers at all, and I was thinking how I can improve the Sabine matchup, and one of the things I thought was the constructed lightsaber or the Jedi lightsaber. Traditionally, the Jedi lightsaber has been good in, let's say Ray Tarkin Town, a few sets back. You would throw it on C3PO or an early unit, and you throw it on early unit, and that could trade quite effectively in the ground and sort of buy you time until you could get through with your to your leader flip. Now, that was fine, but the constructed lightsaber did a few extra things. If you played a Night Sister Warrior, or even better, a Secret Sage, and put the lightsaber on it turn 2, against the decks that it's safe to, obviously you don't play it against like a blue deck that could easily remove it. You get a 4/5 shielded Sage, and that is quite difficult for, let's say, a Sabine player to get through early. And then you come out with a turret and that on top of it. So that was the idea for the constructed lightsaber. The way it worked out is that when I played the PQ, I played no Sabines. They all got eliminated by the Han 2s and that in there. Where I did have success with the constructed lightsaber was on the Yoda flip turn and against other aggressive decks like CAD and that, being able to flip Yoda and then put like a lightsaber, or even at one stage I had a lightsaber on Luke that was restoring for 5, and that allowed me to sort of get back into the games. So that's why I went with the constructed lightsabers over the Jedi lightsaber. I think I've got enough Force units in here that I can use it to target Force, and it's great on Yoda himself when you know they don't run rivals, and it also gives you a chance into decks like Palp Yellow, where the matchup is very lopsided. You can just build a monster Yoda. All right, so Vicken says, hi, good job on the PQ win. What are your lines on the Quinlan matchup? Feels really hard for me. So the Quinlan, you need to value card draw, and you also need to play. It's a tough matchup because they can keep you off the Force quite easily. But what you have to do is that you pass first turn. You can't play it even. You can't even play a Sage down because a lot of them run the X23s. Wait for them to play a unit, then play yours down. Try and get on the Force. Try and get your turrets. Try and get you your money hope. You need to prioritize card draw. So you need units like the Night Sister Warrior, the Yoda, Sages, Kiadimundis, that type of thing. And you really want to try and get a Your Money Hope into something bigger and that as well. The cards like Kira and that don't do that well against you because you can flip with the Yoda, use the Yoda ability, and cycle as well. So Yoda Red is probably going to attack our hand. So I think we can get rid of the Yaddle and the and that there. So all right, let's go Night Sister Warrior. How long does the Australian PQ take with so many players? I felt the Shanghai took ages just doing the Swiss rounds. Okay, so it took about, I don't think we need an open fight here. It took about 10 hours, 12 hours all up. It was, the way it worked was, it was 6 rounds because it was 37 players, I think it was. All right, so let's put the crate on the bottom because we need that rivals in case this turret ends up being a Voltron turret. All right, I think we can get rid of the Night Sister Warrior here. Yeah, so it took 6 rounds, which is 6 hours, 55 minutes a round, and then a top cut of 3 rounds, which is another 3. So it's 9 hours plus whatever you want to take for lunch. Okay, let's just draw with Kiadi. Okay, so he's going to hit us with a red 5 there. All right, yeah, so we've got a Chirrut. Chirrut's something that you don't see very often. All right, so let's claim here. Maybe we should have kept that red 5. All right, so we could 3PO here. I'm going to get rid of the fell because I feel like there's a few different lines here, whether it's 4-throw, 3PO with Ray, or Your Only Hope into a hammerhead here. All right, I don't. Let's see what he comes up with next. All right, so all right, let's put the Ray on top. We've drawn another Ray, so we can trigger that. Put 2 damage on the red 3 and 2 on base. All right, so we can also our opponent here. Let's see what he does. 3. All right, let's force throw our opponent again. Another 3. Okay, so he's got the ghost. So what we can do is now call 5. And then this should defeat the red 3 as well. All right. We get rid of 1 Ray. Don't have enough to one-shot the ghost with the hammerhead. All right, let's hit base for 2. Restore 2. All right, I think we can just rivals hammerhead. We're going to be able to get a draw with C3PO, so we're going to be able to put Ray on top, and we're going to be able to take out this Jyn Erso by calling 5. So you will also have a mix of players at these PQs. There are some players that are naturally slow, and there are some players that are quite fast in that. So we had a mixture. Shanghai took about the same time. I think the finals, but I was out by 3:30 p.m., which was good for me catching a train home. Yeah, well, I didn't get home to midnight from the Sydney one. It was a big day. It started about 10:30, and yeah, and it's about an hour drive home for me from where it was located. So, and it's all done in a day. Yep. So we have had other tournaments here in Australia. One of the ones the first big one was the Onyx tournament. I won that one with Ray Tarkentown in set 2. It was about 56 players, I think, in set 2, and it was a 2-day tournament. So day 1 was Swiss for everyone. I think it was 6 rounds, and then you come back, and then whoever made the top 8 comes back the next day. Then you play out the top 8. The people that didn't make the top 8, there was a pauper tournament the next day. There was just commons and uncommons, and that was pretty cool as well. Yeah, Sydney was a 12-hour marathon. There were some
Hello there.
very long matches in there as well. So this match is not an easy match if you don't have the removal, this one. This will be an interesting match. I never got to play this on the weekend. There was a couple of Piet players. That is not a good hand. That is better, yeah. What do we favor here? So the constructed, I mean, is okay as well, but we want to get the ray train rolling, I think. Yeah, so All Things Fade says one of the people was playing for the first time. He was slow and was trying to get me to start playing Altered. Okay. All right, let's claim. That's a tough resource. I think it's going to have to be the crate, though. Right, we need to get the force. This is a risky play with this this unit here, because it will ramp me if I'm able to collect the bounty on that. All right, so let's claim. All right, so we've got a few options here. I could saber up Yaddle. Can he get rid of it? It'll turn it into a 4/7. I don't think there's anything that he can do to get rid of that in those colors. And it will give us a ray draw on the Corona. Yeah, Pierre, there was 3 Yoda Reds in Sydney. I fought one of them round 1, another one in round 2. It was, yeah, it was a lot. Okay, so let's draw. We'll put Ray on top. We got to defeat that hyena bomber. Right, let's trigger here. We'll kill the hyena bomber, put 2 on base. Okay, so now we're talking. We've got some gas now. We are restoring for 3 with Yaddle, thanks to the lightsaber too. All right, so system shock. I think we're okay with that, right? We'll put the ray on top. We could have Luke there, but I think I'm going to go the card draw option. I want to try and really bleed his hand and try and get the force throws if I can. All right, we'll draw the Kiadi. And this is where we can force throw our opponent. It's a very non-standard yet red list here. All right, we'll take the Corona because we want to draw some cards. All right, so let's claim. He's not liking our... There's no point in these Concords. This is a saboteur, this blockade runner. Quite an interesting card. All right, our 3PO is not long for this world, so let's try and draw first. All right, so here's a overwhelming barrage, but we're on 7 resources, so it's not the best play there. So All Things Fade, that's the first time I've actually seen the ray ability used. Do you mean drawing off the top with the 3PO? All right, I'll put the Yaddle on bottom. Pass. All right, we'll keep both Owens. We don't really have a big unit yet to sacrifice for the Yoda flip. All right, so let's just 4-stray him here. Prepare for takeoff. He probably should have. I guess he was trying to protect his Piet. All right, so now we'll just push. Owen on the bottom. Just play Ray. Owen deploy. He has no cards at the moment. We've got removal. All right, so that was a very different red list than what I've been seeing in the sort of decks that have made a top 8 in the PQs.
Hello there.
All right, so Straw Red. So this should have a lot of indirect damage, a lot of double when defeated. So we're going to have to be very careful about our own when defeated. So let's keep this. So we can go Sage into Yoda. It's blue, so Your Money Hope is actually not the best. Because even if you cheat out an early Poe, it doesn't tend to work out too well. They just fell it. So Sage into that. So which one do we like? The Poe or the Ray? Let's keep on theme. We'll keep trying to draw the Ray as much as we can. Carabas have been playing up for Liam. Keep getting connection errors. I can't say that I've experienced any yet on here. All things fade. Yeah, there was a guy who thought he won once he drew it, but the judge said the drawing in the redeploy didn't activate it. Okay. Let's take the shield away from Krennic. We've got our force token. All right, so he's going to hit us with a scout. Saber's no good again in this matchup because it's blue. All right. All right, let's take out the Krennic. Let's draw. Hey, Yaddle. Oops. I forgot that was on the, yeah. It was like that. That was definitely a mistake. Ray can go at the bottom there. He's going to draw 2 cards if we defeat this while he has initiative. It's kind of super annoying. All right, Darth Vader. Well, we're going to have to kill that. We can't. He'll just have to draw the cards. We can't have that hit for 7. We're seeing some very interesting lists on Karabast at the moment. The Starwing Scout. All right, let's put Chirrut on the bottom. Don't know why he didn't double draw there. All right, let's take one of his cards. Yaddle can go. We're going to be able to draw with Kiadi here and draw with our Night Sister Warrior. What we don't want to see is no glory, because that'll give him 2 cards from it. Okay. Let's draw. Well, we didn't get... Your Mighty Hope would have been great for the Ruthless Raider. All right. Thrawn will come out here. It'll be interesting to see whether he hits Kiadi or he hits the... All right, so let's claim. All right, it is flip turn with Yoda. So we'll hit Thrawn, we'll get our force. Yeah, and we've lost that one. We really needed a You're My Only Hope on the turn before. There's nothing we can do now. Because we can kill that, but taking 12 was a little unexpected there. So... all right, so we can open fire, but we've lost that game. 12 damage to the face from a planetary bombardment is a bit much. There, I think we resourced the Your Only Hope probably incorrectly there. All right, so that's our first loss.
Hello there.
Not a matchup that you would lose too many times, I think, though. I think things lined up pretty well for our opponent on that one. How does this deck perform against hard control like Iden DV? So we played Iden DV earlier on in the stream, and it's not too bad a matchup. It's a lot of chip damage. It's a lot of like setting it up so that Owen takes the brunt of things like Power of the Dark Side. So I don't find it an unwinnable matchup. All right, so I'm going to keep Amplifier. Am I keeping the Ray too much at the moment? Probably. Yeah, so that Thrawn matchup, we just couldn't keep anything really too much on the field. Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to watch that one back to see if there was a different way we could have handled that. But definitely the Your Money Hope. We needed to hit that. Okay, the constructed saber. All right, so let's get the force. All right, so we can just open fire that now. We don't need 2 Rivals Falls. We don't need this second Sage now. We're trying to get some card draw going here. It's not what we wanted to see was a saber. Let's put the Luke away. Because if we saber up, it is too easily removed. It's been a lot of red and blue on the ladder at the moment. It's a fun leader. Maybe not super competitive, but it's definitely fun. Okay, so he's given us that. So I think we can just draw here. I probably should have hit with Ray, but I mean hit with Ray, not hit, use Yoda's abilities first. There. All right, let's draw. We'll put the constructed on the bottom. All right, let's hit in because we want the force here. Claim. Kind of needed some level of removal there. Problem is, if we cast a Rival's Fall here and he really suits up Revan, then we're probably in trouble. Let's drop a Poe. It's amazing. The other night when we were playing, like every second game was Boba Data and now it's a real mixture of decks at the moment. Put that on bottom. Okay, all right, let's claim. It's not too bad because we can rivals the Revan and then manipulate our deck to put a card on top that will defeat Darth Tyrannus. Okay, so All Things Fade says, was the first Revan deck I made, like making with removal and grit cards. Liam tried to make Embo work with Revan, but could never just kill anything himself. Okay, so let's draw. Let's put Turret on top. Oh, no. I wish you could cancel. I meant to put Ray on top there. Or Yoda, trigger. All right, well, we'll kill Karis here. All right, let's pass. And the Sage. That's a base. He'll hit into Yoda and we can just hit loop back. Wow, we could have if I had calculated that right. All right. Yeah, I calculated some of that wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, let's leave it so that we can get a decent hammerhead in. Darth Revan's lightsaber. Let's get some restore in. All right, the turret's really good. Right, so Your Only Hope. Right, we'll claim. We have a lot of cards. No 4th row yet, though. All right, I think we just kill Chirrut here. Darth Sidious. Okay. I think no, this extra 1 damage that's do I just play a crate and then next turn drop Chirrut straight away? All right, so let's claim. Drop Chirrut. I may have messed this up. If he has removal for Chirrut, we could be in trouble. Let's kill Sidious. It's the extra experience is like messing up the numbers at the moment for me. It's gonna play a 4. This is where you'd bring in your side, you bring in redemptions and things like that. Bolstered endurance. Okay, so we're going to be able to do that for 3. Yeah, so it has to go there. We'll play that for free because we're less than 5 life, and now we can open fire the Anakin. So we got kind of bailed out by the Your Only Hope, but costing 3 on that one. So a bit of a puzzle to work out how we best that that sort of scenario. That was quite interesting. All right, 7-1. But definitely a bit scarier those couple of games. And this is more the meta that I would expect at the moment, the Boba Data Vaults. Okay, so it's a good start. We've got Yaddle, Owen, Night Sister Warrior, so let's keep that. I don't need the Ray. We can start with the Yaddle. All right, so we'll claim. Right, so we can go force throw our opponent first. Right, daring raid. It's interesting. Or force throw. I don't know why he didn't attack there first. Okay, so he's out of resources. I'm out of resources. Like, very interesting. All right, let's draw. We'll put that on bottom. The sage down. I will take that on base. Because we are going to restore when we attack. Play the Yoda. And we'll pass. All right, the County Mundy's good. We'll draw County Mundy again. All right, we'll draw. That Rival's Fall is excellent. So what he'll do here, he'll take one of their indirect on his technician. Well, he should, if he wants to pop his boba data. Boba. There we go. So we'll attack in. Then trigger our draw with Kiadi Mundi. Let's see where he puts. All right, we'll draw. We'll claim. The Sage. So we'll have to start with a Rivals 4 here. All right, so we'll just claim here. What can we open with here? So we can just open with a Luke. We will. We can put the crate on top, just in case that this is a Devastator that he drops here. Okay, it wasn't, but we can now push in. Yep, that last match against the Revan was very, very close. We don't need the Poe here. So we can just keep pushing here. We'll Kiadi Mundi, we'll draw some cards. Get a Ray trigger. And then we'll drop a Concord. We don't need that Ray. Hit us with a barrage. See what he kills here. If he kills the Luke, we can play the other Luke. Down. Kettle says, I've been cooking with Malak with Vonreg instead of Revan. Vonreg becomes a Sith leader if you deploy onto a Sith vehicle. That's interesting. I did not know that. Alright, so I'll keep pushing. Those early force throws were rough on our opponent, I think. Luke should finish off here. Yep. All right, 8-1. So we have one more game left in our 10-match series. We lost to a Thrawn Red, where we got obliterated by a planetary bombardment with nothing on the field. So other than that,
Hello there.
here we go. Another might be the same person, Boba Data. Force throw is always rough, yeah. Especially too early force throws. But he did discard a salvage, so it wasn't all too bad for our opponent there. All right, let's keep this hand. Ray and a Rebellious Hammerhead. You can start with the Night Sister Warrior. All right, so we'll claim. All right, we'll get rid of the Chirrut. So we can drop the Concord here. He may pilot this up. We'll see. All right, we'll get the Force. All right, we will draw. We'll put that Luke on the bottom. Pass. Okay. Not the best. Not the best here because we have no turn play at the moment. Let's put one on the bomber. I think we just discard his card because I don't want to pass because if I pass, okay, so he claims initiative. Why did he lost a unit? I should have. That is wrong play. Okay. It is like midnight here, so forgive me for that that play. I should have played it and then played Yoda out. Had I known Yoda was on the top or anything like that as well. Do I just block here? Like, many choices, but not the right ones there. We're going to take some damage here, so I think I have to trigger. Or hit Yaddle. Hello, Wampustommer. Finally get to catch a stream. Yeah, not my best match at the moment, this one. I have messed up a couple of times so far. So I have to claim here. Going to have to be carried by a massive Yoda flip here. Because I have messed this up, I think. I'll take that out. Why wouldn't you attack with that first? Like I don't understand that part. All right. Lucky this is just a 0-4 at the moment. All right, we'll restore. Planetary bombardment. Right, so we have 7 restore on the board. Been carried a little bit by Yoda's flip and probably our opponent's misplay, I think. All right, so we'll start with the Kiadi. We'll draw up. Then we will fell and then just run in with all our units here. And we might get back to 0 by the end of the match. Lucky bastard, yeah. Yep. Our opponent is complimenting our place. He had me, okay. I mean, I put the card on the top of my deck and then flipped, so I'm not really sure what what he had. I just have to claim here. He's still continuing. I had you. What did Vader say? I have you now. He's a good sport about it anyway. He should have attacked with the gunship instead of the bomber. All right, so we finished 9-1 with our Yoda run there. We lost to Thrawn Red. Bombardment seemed to be the theme of the night, and Revan for some reason. So didn't get the clean sweep, but we got there in the end. So we'll turn the score off and we'll play one game of... What do we play? One game of Ray Yellow. Set 5 Ray Yellow. And then I better get some sleep for work tomorrow. Let's see what Ray set 5 can do against Luke Dartavolt. Yeah, the people, you're right, Matthew. The people that think that Yoda's just like, I'm just like random flipping and I'm just getting lucky is crazy. All right, so this seems a pretty good hand. One of my favorite cards in the entire set is this Psychometry. It's such a good card. It's just, it doesn't really have a spot in the meta at the moment, but it's, you'll see. That's unfortunate. We got a Ray. All right, so he's gonna run through and bomb away. Yeah, we'll take all the base here because we want to get 1 force throw off on our opponent. Okay, so we get a 0, but because of Ray's ability, we're still going to be able to do something here. We're still able to do 1 damage. Because we played a force event. Right, so let's play the Starfighter here. Will of the Force is nice as well. So psychometry allows you to choose a card in your discard pile, search the top 5 cards for a card that shares a trait. Okay, so that's not great, but let's... I think I need to draw... If I play Will of the Force, then I lose the... yeah, so that's better. I lose the Force if I do that. We'll take a bit of damage there. We'll claim. All right, so we've got a Soaker. We've got a Force Throw. So we'll start with a Force Throw. Try and get rid of this Y-Wing, hopefully. Yeah. To be careful at the moment because when he flips, yeah, for that particular reason. Okay, so we're going to be able to do 1 damage there. All right, let's choose card in our discard. Trigger it. The problem is if he gets Luke on the ship, we're not going to be able to deal with it. We needed Force to get, if we could have had Force with this Sorcerer's Blast, we could have gotten rid of that. Right, so hopefully you discard something. Yeah, so we can tap it. Anakin. Get rid of the Jedi in hiding. Yeah, unfortunately, we do not have too much to handle this. I think I can Sorceress Blast it. 3. Then I'm going to have to really flip and hit something. With Ray here. All right, so we'll deploy, we'll trigger. Well, the Falcon just can't get rid of it. Like 1 more damage and the Falcon could have got rid of it, of that unit. We'll get rid of the Masterpiece. You get anything? No. Couldn't handle this Blue Squadron. We do have Bamboozles in here. But Bamboozle, I don't think returns the Luke unit, but it'll at least tap it. And that as well. Yeah, and that's it on that one. Is the Anakin pilot in this deck? Yes, the little one. That one there. Yes, he is in the deck. All right, let's try that again.
Hello there.
We didn't really get too many good psychometry pulls on that one. It's a tough deck, this one, to pilot. It's not the easiest. All right, so we'll mulligan that one. Aim as a pilot, count. I think Ray's ability is non-unit, isn't it? Non-unit force card. I see what you mean. Aim as a pilot, and it works. Yeah. All right, let's start there. Take a look at his hand to start with, and we'll take the smuggler. All right, so Merrin seems pretty good. Yeah, play him as an upgrade. That'll work. Yep. All right, we'll drop Merrin out. Merrin will get killed by Forlom. So that's probably not the right play. We're playing Cad here. So Forlom will come out, do a damage, and kill Merrin here. Okay, we'll just... Oh. Yeah. Right, we'll claim here. We'll run into Forlom. Okay, we've got a lot of good cards here. I think we'll draw with Kiadi. See what we get. Right, let's see what he plays here. I'll play Psychometry. We'll take the Kiadi. We'll take a... Let's take a Force Stroke. We'll try and bleed his hand out here. Damage to Aura. Why the 5-drop? Which 5-drop? You talking about the Ray unit? All right, we'll try and make him discard a card here. All right, thanks for tuning in. All Things Fade. Have a good one. I will catch you next time. I am just about to join. This will be the last game. Oh, no, this is a big unit. Okay, well, that's going to be an issue because lots of raids going to come out here, and I have no way to handle it. Raid doubled. Yeah. So the raid can be drawn from psychometry. That's like a draw at a particular point and get 2 damage. Obviously, it's not working too well. At the moment, I am getting slaughtered at the moment by our opponent here. The spark. I think we just have to high roll on force roads. Right, at least we take that out. Right, let's force throw our opponent again. Take aura out. All right, we will do 1 damage to CAD. Deploy Ray. We won't ditch our hand. We got Caddy Mundi to draw 2 cards. And then we'll take out CAD. Right, so we are on a little bit of a clock, but let's see how we go. All right, so let's Sorcerous Blast. Forlom is decent for our opponent. And run our Dapper into it. All right, and we can take out the Marauder. Kind of stabilized, but we're like just 3 damage away from dying here. So this is one of the first decks I started working with this set. Just because no one wanted to play Ray, and I thought, well, it can't be that bad. And then, yeah, we're dead. If you look at this, okay, well, we just have to claim here because otherwise we're dead. All right, we'll kill Aura there. All right, so he's going to claim. So let's go with the pilot. Let's keep him attached. All right, we'll make him discard a card. And then pass. Let's see if we have got our first win with Ray. We got murdered in the game before, but much better this one. All right, so and that's the Ray Yellow one. So I'll put that in the chat. There we go. Tonight, 9-1 with Yoda. Probably should have been 10-0, but we just got murdered by the Thrawn Red. I'll have to look back on that and see exactly what happened. I think we missed the Your Only Hope. We resourced it and we paid for it as well. So I think the changes made to Yoda, I'm much more comfortable having 2 Rivals Falls in the deck. The Owens, yeah, we'll see on that one, the extra Owen. But rest of it looks and feels pretty good now. So that will be in the description, the link to that deck list. I may run it back in Adelaide, and when I do, I will let you know. If there's any decks that you would like me to have a go at, any of these nights and that, just leave a comment down in the video. And if you're not subscribed, yeah, feel free to throw in a subscribe as well. So, all right, well, have a good one, everyone, and I will catch you